Ang title po ng ating, for our first session, 2 sessions po ito, sa ngayong umaga, ang general topic ay about chapter 9 ng ating confession, which is about free will. And ang title is A Confessional Appraisal of Compatibilistic Free Will. Naunawaan ko na medyo mahirap. Appraisal, ano to sa bahay ba to? Mag-a-appraise ng bahay. It's simply an assessment. So we are assessing yung etong compatible or yung compatibilistic free will. It's a modern term, philosophical term, kung saan sinasabi natin na ang free will ng tao natin ay tugma, compatible sa decree ng Panginoon, sa kanyang pagtatalaga. Diba? Chapter 3 ng ating confession, if you remember, Pastor Exley, kung sino po naka-attend noon sa San Pablo, tinuro doon yung decree ng ating Panginoon na siya ang nagtatalaga comprehensively, lahat, even our actions, our thoughts, kasama sa itinalaga ng Panginoon kung anong gagawin natin ngayon, whether mag-inom tayo ng kape, magbabasa tayo, nakatalaga yan sa Panginoon before the foundation of the world. It's determined to happen. So, ang objection doon is, if that's the case, wala tayong free will. Para tayo, mga robot ba tayo dito na tinalaga na pala ng Panginoon lahat bawat segundo, bawat paghihinga natin, nakatalaga na bago pa tayong likhain. So does that mean na na hindi tayo malaya sa ating pagpapasya at tayo ay hindi responsable sa mga decisions natin? Thereby, kung nakagawa tayo ng kasalanan, hindi ko kasalanan yun kasi tinalaga ng Diyos So ganun po yung contention, which I will be showing later. So this first part, part 1, grounded in robust confessionalism. Kaya ito'y confessional assessment. We will be using our confession, language ng ating confession. Of course, summarize yung teaching ng scriptures para i-assess yung idea ng free will na ating i-advance this morning. Na every major Reformed confessions ay naniniwala sa free will. Okay? Hindi pag sinabing free will ay ikaw automatic na Arminian ka na agad, right? Minsan, nung ako'y bago sa Calvinist Reformation, nag-aaral kami ng soteriology, dumating kami sa point na yung effectual calling, chapter 10 yun after netong chapter 9 ng ating confession. Tapos merong discussion na about decision. Ang tanong sa amin, do you decide para maligtas ka? Anong sagot niyo po? Do you decide? So mali ba yung tanong na, I have decided, yung kanta na, I have decided to follow Jesus. Minsan pag pawang Calvinist, parang mali yun, parang hindi ako nag-decide. So tingnan natin later, okay? Pinilit ba tayo ng Panginoon, kicking and screaming para mapunta sa kanyang kaharian? So as a preliminary, according to Brian Borgman and Jason Ching, merong 2022 ito, yung new exposition of the London Baptist Confession of Faith edited ni Rob Ventura. According to them, a few concepts are as contentious as the topic of free will. This contention flows in no small part from the lack of clarity over what exactly one means by the term free will. So yun yung contention. Pag sinabi na, okay, wala akong free will. May free will ako. Minsan nag-aaway na, pero hindi di-define ano ba yung ibig sabihin kapag sinabing free will. Minsan ina-assume na, okay, yung Calvinist niya, sabi niya wala kaming free will. Ang Calvinist naman, ang defense niya ay dinikri ng Panginoon pero hindi niya challenge yung assertion na, what do you mean when you say free will? Minsan merong assumption na hindi natin tinuturo at hindi tinuturo ng banal na kasulatan. So magbigay tayo ng onting sampling dito sa history. For example, the Reformation month ngayon, si Martin Luther, yung kanyang denial of free will as an empty phrase. So walang kahulugan daw iyon. Sabi niya sa kanyang aklat, itong translation nito, edited by or translated by Dr. Bogan noong 1823, nasa list ng literature natin later. Sabi niya, no man has attributed this divine power to it hitherto except the Pelagians. Nay, Erasmus far exceeds the Pelagians, for they attribute this divinity to the whole of the free will, Erasmus to half of it. So kung familiar kayo sa history, di ba? Si Pelagius, sa nagturo ng, kaya nga meron tayong tinatawag na free will in a Pelagian sense, na yung power ng makapag-decide ng malaya labas sa kalooban ng Panginoon ay meron daw tayo. So irrelevant yung decree ng Panginoon. We can decide even contrary sa dinecree ng Panginoon. So let's say, if God ordained na si brother ay iinom siya ng kape mamaya, pwede niyang hindi gawin yon. So tayo yung may ultimate na source ng ating decision. So regardless kung dinecree pa yan ng Panginoong Diyos. And then, sabi pa ni Martin Luther, it follows from what has been said that free will is a title which belongs altogether to God. So sa Diyos lang daw yon, and cannot join with any other being, save the divine majesty only. For that divine majesty, as the psalmist sings, can and does affect all that he wills in heaven and in earth. But if this title be ascribed to men, you might just as well ascribe divinity itself to them, a sacrilege which none can exceed. So para kay Luther, na kung yung free will na kanyang kinocombat dito during their time ay ang Diyos lang daw meron nun. Ang Diyos lang daw ang merong malayang kalooban. Yun yung free will sa Tagalog. That's how it is normally translated. So, para kay Erasmus kasi, useless lang yung doctrine ng free will that we can live without. So, parang napilitan lang siya na i-publish yung diatribe. Tapos, 1524 yon, and then Luther responded 1525. So, yun yung, so titignan nyo, si Luther, he is against free will. Now, tignan natin naman yung 1644, ating confession, 1677, 1689. Merong First London Baptist Confession, 1644, ni-revise nung 1646. Tignan nyo po yung sinabi dito. Yung denial of free will as the heretics teaching. Na ang free will daw ay katuruan ng mga heretic. Yung mga pag sinabing heretic, as we know it, theologically, if you embrace a teaching of a heretic, ibig sabihin you are condemned. Okay? You are not labas ka ng ebanghelyo. Okay? So sabi dito sa ating confession, or First Baptist Confession, we question not, but that it will seem strange to many men, that such as we are frequently termed be, lying under the calumny and black brand of heretics, Anabaptist yun charging us with holding free will, falling away from grace, denying original sin. So ganito kalala yung discussion during their time na pag in-embrace mo yung free will, it's as if naniniwala ka na pwede tayong malaglag sa biyaya ng Diyos and we deny original sin. Yun ba yung pinapaniwalaan natin bilang Reformed Baptist? Hindi. Definitely. So anong klase kayang free will yung dinadeny nila? So, ang ating inquiry for this first session, does our confession affirm a compatibilistic free will? So, yung compatibilism, sa definition ni Sean Wright sa kanyang aklat na 40 Questions About Calvinism. That's a very good book. Recent lang siya. Accessible siya yung book na yon. Compatibilism is the belief that these two seemingly contradictory truths are in fact compatible, tugma, with each other. God is absolutely sovereign. Walang Calvinist na nagde-deny nun. Okay? He is absolutely sovereign. Human beings are morally responsible creatures. Sa lahat ng ginagawa natin, tayo ang responsable doon. So yung dalawang yon na God is sovereign and we are responsible, parang hindi siya magkatugma, right? Pero ibig sabihin ng compatibilism or compatible yung dalawang truths na yon, sila ay magkatugmang katotohanan. Hindi sila magkasalungat. Okay, they are compatible. So we can believe that God is sovereign. At the same time, we can believe that we are responsible. We freely made our decisions. We are freely making our decisions. And yung comment ko nga kanina na sabi din ni Scott Christensen, although the term compatibilism is part of the parlance of modern philosophical discourse on this issue, it accurately reflects what the great American colonial pastor and theologian Jonathan Edwards thought. He was the first to thoroughly articulate the ideas of compatibilism in his magisterial tome, Freedom of the Will. Kung si Martin Luther ay merong The Bondage of the Will, si Jonathan Edwards ay merong book na The Freedom of the Will. Okay? So, later natin i-spell out yan. So, ngayon, confessional appraisal, ito ang ating assertion. Compatibilism is grounded in our confession. So kahit hindi ginamit yung term na compatibilism or magkatugma, yung sovereignty and responsibility, ito'y makikita natin sa ating confession. So ang ating confession, it affirms free will. So yung background, Luther and 1644, at parang di-deny yung free will, pero sa ating confession, chapter 9, pinapakita na ina-affirm nito. So, nire-reflect nito yung familiar kayo sa aklat ni Thomas Boston, the human nature in its fourfold state, na hango rin sa teaching ni Augustine, na if you have your confession with you, sa paragraph chapter 2, tinuro doon na sa state of innocency. Ito yung state nila Adan, na kaya nilang magkasala at kaya nilang hindi magkasala. Able to sin and able not to sin. Paragraph 3, yun naman yung state of sin. Yung pagkahulog. Ibig sabihin yun yung estado ng ating kalooban sa after the fall, or fall and then onwards. Na kung saan, we are not able not to sin. So yung mga unbelievers and us, before we come to Christ, before we have been saved, hindi natin kayang hindi magkasala. Ayun yung landasin ng ating buhay. Taliwas sa biyaya ng Panginoong Diyos. Paragraph 4, we are sa state of grace naman ito, we are able not to sin. Kaya nating hindi magkasala. We do not claim Christian perfectionism na meron ba dito magsasabi na hindi ka nagkakasala? Pag may nagsabi, ano gagawin natin? Hindi natin papakainin mamaya, tingnan natin kung magalit siya or hindi. Okay. So, paragraph 4 yon, right? We are able not to sin. Kung ikaw ay naka-Kristo na, hindi ka na alipin ng kasalanan. Kaya mo nang hindi magkasala sa biyaya ng Panginoon. Kaya hindi mo pwedeng sabihin na, ito yung remaining sin ko eh. Hindi ko talaga mapigilan eh, kahit Kristiyano na ako eh. Kailangang turuan ang kapatid na ipaalala sa kanya, yung grace that saved you is the same grace that can enable you to follow Christ and to obey His command. So ang ating observation dito, and paragraph 5 pala, yung huling paragraph ng ating chapter 9 ng confession, unable to sin. The state of glory, it's a beautiful and glorious picture na wala ng kasalanan at hindi tayo magkakasala. State of glory. So yung ating struggle ngayon na parang bigla kang sumasabog sa iyong galit, sa langit wala na nun, kapatid. Kaya minsan kapag tayo nahulog sa kasalanan, di ba, na we pray, oh Jesus, come. Kasi there will come a time in eternity na siguro kung magkakasama tayo dun o kaya nagde-debate kayo sa langit, no, hindi ka na mapipikon sa kay Brother Jessiel pag de-debate kay Brother Jessiel. Right? So yan, okay? So ang observation natin ay ito. The kind of free will that Luther abhorred, kinamuhian niya yun, and the Anabaptists affirm, is conceptually similar to the modern term of libertarian free will. So dalawa, libertarian free will, LFW, and then compatibilistic free will, CFW. Okay, LFW, CFW. On the contrary, our confession affirms a kind of free will compatible with divine determinism. So, yung libertarian free will, ito yung merong tituro nito na ang isang moral agent, siya yung ultimate source ng decision niya. Hindi yung decree ng Panginoon. and he can do otherwise than what God decrees or than what his character and desires determined. Ating i-spell out yan later on in detail. May alarm na time ko na po ba? Akala mo nag-alarm eh. Nag-umpisa pa lang po tayo. Okay. Alright. So A, assumption. So itong ating confession, merong itong assumption. Nag-umpisa yung ating confession, chapter 9, paragraph 1, sa word na God. Okay? We need to recall yung katuruan about this divine determinism where sinabi sa ating confession, sa mga naunang passages, who God is. So when we read chapter 9 ng ating confession, yung unang word pa lang, God, we need to be reminded, sino itong God na tinutukoy ng ating confession? Natutunan ko ito kay Jim Renihan, tatay ni Sam Renihan. If you do not know them, that's okay. They do not know you. Sideways confessional reading. Okay? Ibig sabihin, sideways, when you read chapter 9, basahin mo yung previous chapters for you to see, let's say, ano ba siya sabi ng ating confession sa mga, about this particular, say, God sa previous chapters and then onwards as well. Para hindi tayo mawala sa context, di ba? That's how we also read the scriptures. So for example, chapter 3. At sino itong God na sinasabi sa chapter 9 ng ating confession? Sabi doon sa chapter 3, God decreed in himself from all eternity by the most wise and holy counsel of his own will, freely and unchangeably all things whatsoever comes to pass. So ito yung God. Ito yung tukoy dito na nag-decree siya from himself sa kanyang marunong at banal na kalooban. And then sa chapter 4, itong Diyos din na ito ang sa pasimula ay nalugod na maglikha ng tao. Okay, chapter 4. Chapter 5, so parang may review tayo, no? Alam ko dumaan kayo sa bawat chapter. Chapter 5, about itong good creator naman of all things, he, by his wisdom, infinite wisdom, he upholds, direct, dispose, and govern all creatures and all things. Itong Diyos na tinutukoy sa chapter 9, siya rin yung Diyos na nag-uphold ng lahat ng mga bagay. He direct yung path na dadaanan natin. He dispose, he govern all creatures. Walang hindi niya dinadirect. And chapter 6, ito na yung creation ng man or fall of man. Although God created man upright and perfect and gave him righteous law, then bumagsak yung tao. Then chapter 7, yung about sa covenant naman, di ba? Itong Diyos rin na ito yung nag-express by way of covenant. Nalugod siya to express his will by way of covenant in order to save people. That's why sinabi rin doon, it pleased the Lord to make a covenant of grace. That's your topic 2 months ago, right? And then last month, chapter 8, it pleased God in his eternal purpose to choose and ordain the Lord Jesus Christ, his only begotten Son, according to the covenant made between them both. So, yung assumption ng ating, yung giver ng ating free will, ang assumption, he is the God who created us, who in his infinite wisdom, sa kanyang hindi maarok na karunungan, ay lumikha sa atin. At siya yung nagdadirect ng ating mga ways. So, doon pa lang makikita nyo, gaano ba kalaki yung difference ng wisdom ng Diyos sa wisdom natin? Can you measure? Hindi natin ma-measure, right? Yun, right? He has infinite wisdom. We have finite wisdom. So ito yung assumption natin. So God meticulously in a way that shows great attention to detail na He determines all events and human choices that transpire in the universe, ensuring that everything occurs necessarily and causally according to His sovereign decree. So, sa pagdetermine ng Panginoon, pagtatalaga ng Panginoon ng lahat ng mga nangyayari, events, decision natin, mangyayari talaga yon. Hindi pwedeng hindi mangyari. Okay? So, yung note dito, quick note, God endued. Yung term na endued, siya yung itong technical term, meaning God has invested or endowed. Ito yung galing sa book ni Renihan, na to the judicious and impartial reader, exposition din ng ating confession. He endowed the will of man with an ability to act in a certain way, imparting particular inherent qualities to man's constitution. So, ang Diyos din ang nagbigay ng will sa atin. Okay? Siya ang nagbigay ng intellect sa atin. Siya ang nagbigay ng lahat ng meron tayo bilang kanyang nilikha. Okay? So sabi ni John Gill sa kanyang aklat na The Cause of God and Truth, the will of man, though it is free, yet not independently and absolutely so. So yung ating kalooban, malaya ito, pero hindi absolutely. Okay? It is dependent on God. So bilang creatures, ang ating kalooban ay nakadepende sa Diyos. Both in its being and acting, it is subject to His authority and command, and controllable by His power. Example na sinite ni John Gill, Proverbs 21 verse 1, the king's heart, and so every other man's is in the hand of the Lord. As the rivers of waters, He turns it whithersoever He will. So gagaya na daw ng ilog na kung saan dumadaloy, ganun daw yung control ng Panginoon sa ating malayang kalooban. He controls it, still we are free. So you ask, paano yun? Later, sagutin natin mamaya. Okay, letter B, definition, the nature of free will. So yung paragraph 1 and 2 defines for us what free will is. So tignan lang natin dito yung una, inherent qualities. So sabi dito, yung the will of man with that natural liberty. Dalawa yon, a natural liberty and power of acting upon choice. Sa ating confession, pinakita doon na meron tayong inherent ability to act according to our nature. Yun yung pag sinabi na natural ability. We act, or natural liberty, we act according to our nature. So, tayo, tao, we cannot fly. Kasi wala tayong pakpak, hindi tayo ibon. Kahit i-identify mo pa yung sarili mo na I'm a bird, can you fly, right? So, you can't. Naka-bound tayo sa ating kakayanan, okay, according to our nature. And yung power of acting upon choice, ito yung ability to act according to our choice desire. Pag may gusto kang gawin, kaya mong gawin niyon. Pero na lang kung merong external force. Let's say, Reformation month ngayon, gusto mong bumili ng bagong book, pero kung walang binigay sa iyong allowance, di makakabili. Kasi merong external na pupigil sa iyo, right? Pero gusto mo yung gawin yon, right? Pero given all things are equal, meron kang allowance, meron kang pera, and then meron kang strongest motive to buy a book, bibilihin mo yon. You can freely act on that. Walang pumipigil sa iyo. Pero na lang kung pigilan ka ng nanay mo o kaya ng asawa mo. Okay? And then, negative qualifications. Neither forced nor by any necessity of nature determined to do good or evil. So paragraph 1 pa rin yun. Sabi ni Francis Turretin, itong dalawang ito, yung neither forced or nor by any necessity of nature determined to do good, this constitute man's essential liberty in whatever state he is. So, kahit mga unbelievers, sabihin natin they are bondage to sin, essential part ng kanyang liberty na hindi forced yung kanilang decision. Let's say, if they commit sin, or even as Christians, if we commit sin, hindi tayo pinorse ng Diyos na gumawa ng kasalanan. Right? So, not forced. Term dito ng Reformed Orthodox during 16th, 17th century ay liberty from coaction. Ito yung sabi ni Renihan. Looking back to the original creation, we see there the hand of God in making humanity what it is. And what we are, we always are. Those things that constitute the nature of humanity are never lost. They are as God makes them to be. So, don't be confused kasi diyan sabi ni Renihan na hindi tayo nagbago after the fall. Okay? He is referring to our will na kung saan, kung before the fall, ang ating will ay hindi forced, hindi necessitated by nature, ganun pa rin siya. Even unbeliever ka noon or ngayong believer ka na, and even sa state of glory, hindi forced ang ating kalooban. So merong liberty from coaction. It is by which man's acts is spontaneous, uncontrolled, with freedom. Sa ating ginagawa, whether we are conscious or unconscious, ang ating mind, merong judgment sa ating ginagawa. Merong two options or multiple objects na ating pagpipilian. And then we decide freely kung ano yung gagawin natin sa mga bagay na iyon. More on that later. And then yung pangalawa doon, di ba, negative ito, qualification, sabi ng ating confession, neither, hindi siya force, una, ang ating will, hindi pinuwersa. Pangalawa, not necessitated by nature. Ibig sabihin, meron tayong liberty from physical or natural necessity. So, for example, yung halimbawa dito ng mga may natural or physical necessity, halimbawa lang yung sun, yung araw. Ano yung ginagawa ng araw? By the laws of nature, it shines. And how about the moon? It revolves around the sun. May mga bata kasi dito eh. It revolves around the earth, yung moon. So yun yung by nature, the moon will necessarily revolve around the earth. So merong ganon. It's necessitated by nature. Ibig sabihin, hinihingi ng law, ng batas ng kalikasan na may mga certain things na mangyayari as it is. For example, pag itong laptop, nilaglag ko, binitawan ko, malaglag to because of what? Gravity. Pero hindi ko siya laglag, syempre. Wag, hindi pwede. Ito na. Babagsak siya, hindi tayo magulat na parang, okay, bitawan ko tong cellphone ko, lilipad siya. Because merong laws of nature. Merong natural or physical. I-apply natin yan sa tao. Okay? Natural necessity refers to the inevitable connection of things resulting from the application of yung mga non-moral physical forces such as gravity or natural law. Na tayo, for example, hindi mo pwede sabihin na sinampal mo yung isang tao. Sabihin mo, ay hindi, because of the law of gravity, hindi ko mapigilan eh. Nasampal ko talaga siya. You cannot say that, right? You chose to do that. Pinili mo na gawin yon. So hindi tayo necessitated by nature, laws of nature, ano bang mga external factors. Pag sinabi yung physical or natural necessity, mga external factors involved. Isa pang halimbawa, kung halimbawa ako, hindi ako marunong lumangoy. Marunong ako mag-floating, pero hindi ako marunong lumangoy. Sino dito yung gano'n? Kung hindi ko nagawang tulungan yung isang batang nalulunod, kasi di ako marunong lumangoy eh. Right? Meron akong natural inability. Hindi ko kayang gawin yun eh. And then, I am subject to a natural necessity. Ibig sabihin no, na sa aking kakayanan, hindi kinakailangan na mailigtas ko yung bata. Kasi hindi ko kayang lumangoy eh. So pag hindi ko naligtas yung bata, by that context, kailangan nyo ba akong sisihin? Sisihin nyo ko eh, no? Ako ba? Sisihin nyo? O siya ba? Sisihin nyo ba yung tao na nandoon na naka-witness, nalunod yung bata, hindi siya marunong lumangoy, hindi niya nailigtas? In that context, hindi siya blamable, pero may other factors pa. Pwede sana siyang tumawag ng help from other people. Pero by that fact lang na that he cannot swim, or I cannot swim, hindi nyo ako pwedeng sisihin. Yung fact na yan. May other factors na tumawag ko ng tulong o kaya nag-isip ako ng iba, pwede siguro. Pero fact na, uy, bakit di mo niligtas yung bata? Eh, hindi nga ako marunong lumangoy eh. Hindi siya pwedeng i-judge or i-condemn because of that one fact. May other factors doon. Okay? So yon, ang ating will, mga proofs na sa ating sa scriptures, Matthew 17 verse 12, tignan niyo dito yung after the transfiguration, tinanong si Kristo ng mga disciples niya about the coming of Elijah. Sabi doon, "But I tell you that Elijah has already come, and they did not recognize him, but did to him whatever they pleased. So also the Son of Man will certainly suffer at their hands." So yung pumatay even kay pumatay kay Kristo, right? Even yung gumawa ng kay Elijah nung kasamaan, ginawa nila as they please. Yung Greek word doon, it means to will, to wish, or to desire. Ginawa nila yung kagustuhan nila laban kay Elijah. James 1:14. Kung tinutukoy dito sa bawat temptation, it comes by our own desire. Sabi sa James 1:13, let no one say when he is tempted, I am being tempted by God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, and he himself tempts no one. But each person is tempted when he is lured and enticed by his own desire. Yung kanyang sariling lust, craving. Then desire, same word na ginamit, when it has conceived, gives birth to sin, and sin, when it is fully grown, brings forth death. Sinasabi dito, yung pag tayo ay na-entice sa kasalanan, or sa temptation, it is by our own desire. Right? Kaya hindi natin pwedeng kantayin na, o tukso, layuan mo ako. Hindi lalayo yung tukso. Tayo yung lalayo sa tukso. We resist the devil. We flee away from temptation. So when we sin, we are not forced to sin. Deuteronomy 30 verse 19, ito yung covenantal renewal sa Moab. Sabi doon, verse 19, I call heaven and earth to witness against you today that I have set before you, sa merong option, life or death, blessing and curse. Therefore, choose life, that you and your offspring may live. Wala namang baril dito si Moses na, okay, choose life. Pag hindi nyo pinili yung buhay, papatayin ko kayo. Mamatayin kayo. Walang ganon. Merong option na ibinigay, object, na kung saan ang ating mind ay magde-decide, magde-judge kung ano yung tama doon, and then we can choose. Right? That's it. So the biblical free will is this. The freedom of inclination or rational spontaneity, voluntary, it's involuntary ang ating choice. Okay? Freedom of inclination. Ibig sabihin, kung saan tayo inclined, yung ating strongest motive at the moment of decision, granting all things na okay, walang outside force that will prevent us. Yung ating strongest motive at that moment, yun yung ating gagawin. Okay? And then, wherein an agent voluntarily chooses according to their most compelling desires. Open and close parenthesis, conditional ability. I-hold you yung phrase na yun, conditional ability. Kasi mahalaga ito sa discussion later, yung mga modern rejection ng free will. Conditional ability. Kakaya nating gawin ang mga bagay, and even contrary to what we can possibly do, pero nakaangkla pa rin yun sa ating kagustuhan. Halimbawa, bababa ako dito, yan yung iisipin kong gawin. Pero I can do otherwise kapag nagbago yung aking desire. Kasi ayoko na lang, wag na lang. Dito na lang, mag-stay na lang ako dito sa likod or sa CR na lang. So, meron ganong conditional ability in an unhindered way without being subject to external coercion or compulsion. So, walang coercion, walang compulsion sa ating mga decision. And as part ng ating unang lecture, C, qualification. Ito yung states of free will. Paragraphs 3 and 4, state of sin and state of grace. State of sin, we brought ourselves to this state. Isang key text dito ay Ecclesiastes 7 verse 29. Sabi doon, this alone have I discovered. God made mankind upright. So, sinong lumikha sa atin ng matuwid? Ang Diyos. He created us, and sinabi niya, very good, right? And then, however or but, they have sought many evil schemes. So, kung ating observe sa Hebrew, ay i-compare mo yung Genesis 1:26, ay may parallelism doon, parehas ng sequence ng Hebrew words na ginamit. May kita mo doon na if a Jewish reader reads Ecclesiastes 7:29, he will quickly recall yung Genesis 1:26 na nilikha tayo ng Diyos ng mabuti. Okay? But, merong contrast, they have sought out many schemes. So, pinapakita dito na ating will ay mutable, changeable, nagbabago. Gaya ng sinabi sa chapter 6, paragraph 1 ng ating confession, review ito, sabi doon, Adam, who without any compulsion did willingly transgress the law of their creation. Ang ganda ng wording ng ating confession, no? Si Adam, walang compulsion. Hindi siya pinilit ng ahas or even ni Eve. O sige na, kainin mo na to. Or pinor si Adan, ang lakas siguro ni Eva doon, no? Pinor ni Eva si Adan, kainin mo to, kainin mo. Walang ganon. Sabi doon, he did willfully transgress the law of their, ibig sabihin, active yung rebellion ni Adan nung siya ay nagkasala or nahulog sa pagkasala. And the command given to them in eating the forbidden fruit. So, ito yung tinatawag sa etong chapter na itong confession, tinukoy yung total loss of ability to be saved. So, sa ating states of sin, when we were an unbeliever, state of sin, yun yung ating estado nung tayo'y wala sa Panginoong Jesucristo, we cannot save ourselves. Sabi sa ating confession, wholly lost all ability to will to any spiritual good accompanying salvation. Hindi natin nanaising maligtas. Alam natin yan bilang niniwala tayo sa doctrines of grace. Ito yung sabi ni Thomas Boston sa kanyang Human Nature in its Fourfold State. The will, that commanding faculty, which at first was faithful and ruled with God, is now turned traitor and rules with and for the devil. We deny him not a power to choose. So, hindi natin sinasabi na walang kakayanan si Adan na pumili. Pursue and act what is good as to the matter, but though he can will what is good and right, he can will nothing aright and well. Ang ganda nung wording dun, di ba? Simpleng word, di ba? In other words, he can want to do good, but he cannot do it rightly. Kaya may mga, siguro may mga ministry sa prison, no? Sabihin nung nakakulong doon, gusto ko na talaga magbago, pero ito na yung ko eh. Ito na yung kalagayan ko ngayon eh. Pero he cannot justify yung kanyang pagiging nasa kulungan. Right? Kahit sabihin niya pa na ganoon. Kaya nang baguhin. Pero unless na kumilos ang biyaya ng Panginoon sa paragraph 4, hindi siya talapit sa Panginoon. So merong tinatawag tayo na voluntary slavery to sin. So ang bondage of the will, hindi ito parang gusto niyang magpakabuti pero di niya magawa. Gusto kong mabait pero di ko magawa. May mga millennials baka hindi niyo alam yung kanta na yan. Gusto kong magpakabuti pero di magawa. Hindi na pwedeng sabihin yun na kasi nakabandage ako eh. Ayoko namang maging bandage sa sin eh. Ginawa ng Diyos yun eh. Hindi. Voluntary slave. Voluntary slavery sa kasalanan. Okay? So, and then second, totally unable to convert and prepare. Hindi kayang mag-convert, walang self-conversion. Okay? Hindi natin kayang i-convert yung ibang tao. Na minsan may mga bata or sana wala dito mga young people sa ibang church na sama ko po yung niligawan ko dito, maka-convert naman siya eh. Okay. Naalala ko lang. So, text dyan na ginamit, Titus 3:5, John 6:44. John 6:44, sinabi doon, no man can come to me unless the Father who sent me draws him, and I will raise him up on the last day. I-expand to chapter 10, effectual calling. Okay, kung sino magtuturo noon, doon na lang kayo magtanong sa kanya pag ano. Okay, so point. Our confession affirms a free will. Yung with power to choose that is consistent with God who comprehensively decreed all things, including human actions and decision. Okay? So even sa state ng sin, man freely chooses to sin as the natural inclination of a fallen soul. So mahalaga maunawaan natin, lalo sa mga parents, sa ating mga anak, di ba? We discipline our children. Pero pag sinabi natin na bakit mo ginawa yun, nag-disobey ka sa mama mo, ganito, ganyan, puro focus sa'yo, inutos ko na sa'yo na nag-disobey ka sa akin. So, even in discipline, we need to apply the gospel as well. We need to deal the heart of the issue, which is the heart of our children. Na Bakit mo ginawa yan? Anong reason? Yung anak namin, alam niya ang sagot dyan eh. Bakit? Dahil po, depraved po yung heart ko. So what do you need? You need the grace of God. Can you change on your own? No, you can't. Diba? So, babalik pa rin doon sa Ebanghelyo. Whenever we discipline our children, we point them back to the gospel. Na hindi nais ni mommy or daddy na ikaw ay morally transformed lang. Okay? Or your parents want you to be changed. And that is by you submitting to Christ, by believing in the gospel. Kasi Christ has power to save even you, kahit sa young age mo pa lang. So yun yung binibigyan natin ng emphasis. So state of grace, when God converts a sinner, enables him freely to will and to do that which is spiritually good. So yung mga scripture na ginabi dito, Colossians 1:13, John 8:36, for example, if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. Pag pinalaya ka ng anak, you will be free indeed. I-force ka ba niya na hilahin? Teka dito sa kaharian ko, ayaw mo, dito ka. Hindi ganon. He sets you free. Meron tayong effectual calling kung saan through the preaching of the word, the Spirit working with and by the word, He calls, He draw the sinner, and then kasama din yung regeneration, binabago niya yung puso ng tao para lumapit sa kanya ng malaya. And then makikita din yan sa Philippians 2:13. So sabi ni John Gill again, man's will is free from a necessity of coaction or force. The will cannot be forced, nor is it even by the powerful, efficacious, and unfrustrable operation of God's grace in conversion. So ito kasing isa sa mga pushback ng mga kaibigan natin, ng mga Arminian against Calvinism na gabi ang Diyos nyo, pino-force ang mga tao para tanggapin si Kristo. Ganun ba ang tinuturo natin? So sinabi dito ni hindi pino-force, not even God. Hindi pino-force ng Diyos ang ating kalooban. Ang ginagawa niya, binabago niya. Ito yung magandang sinabi ni John Gill. For though before it is unwilling to submit to Christ and His way of salvation, yet it is made willing in the day of His power, without offering the least violence to it, God working upon it with a sweet omnipotence, matamis na kapangyarihan, ang ganda no? And an omnipotent sweetness. Ito yung tinatawag natin na sweet conversion. Hindi yung sweet conversation na siguro sa asawa niya. Mamaya. Sweet conversion. Matamis na pagbabago na binibigay na ginagawa ng Panginoon sa isang rebelding makasalanan. Ginawa niya sa atin yon. If you are in Christ, ganyan yung ginawa ng Panginoon. Merong pagliligtas na ginawa ng Panginoon. Hindi niya finors ang ating kalooban. So, implication lang nito mga kapatid. Narinig ko to actually. Christians must be cautious in stating, though with a good intention, that it is acceptable for God to override or violate their will in yielding to His sovereignty. Again, hindi tayo pinorse ng Panginoon to be a Christian. Minsan siguro may mga bago pa lang sa pananampalataya and even doctrines of grace na sabi nila na Lord, i-violate mo na lang yung will. Ayoko nang magkasal. I-force mo na lang ako. I-violate mo na lang yung aking will. And no, we don't pray for that, right? Hindi niya pinipray na parang mas okay sa akin na i-violate ng Diyos ang aking kalooban. Minsan in responding to an Arminian na nagsasabi na pinoforce natin ang kalooban ng Panginoon. Parang nag-yield sila na okay, at least sovereign ng Panginoon, okay lang sa akin kung pinoforce niya yung will ko. Pero hindi ganun yung ating katuruan. Hindi ganun yung katuruan ng ating confession. Hindi ino-override ng Panginoon ang ating kalooban para tayo ay maligtas. He works miraculously and powerfully, changing our will, making us willing in the day of our salvation. So, according to Beeke and Jones sa kanilang A Puritan Theology, walang contradiction. It is no contradiction to believe that God decrees, knows, works out all things which comes to pass, and that some events are contingent or freely chosen of their own nature. So another implication, man is blameworthy when he falls into sin for his mutability and sin, not God who created him good. So tayo yung dapat sisihin sa bawat kasalanan natin, bawat pagsuway natin. Hindi ang Diyos na minsan kasi kung nakatin kayo ng conference last year sa Pampanga, Better Yet Free, sila Pastor Joseph, Pastor Ramen, Pastor Mike Dairo, yung parang isang normal objection daw is, you made me do this. Lord, hindi ko kasalanan to. Ginawa mo kong ganito eh. Minsan mayinig natin sa mga agenda ng LGBTQ, right? Ginawa ako ng Diyos na ganito. So wala na akong magawa. Tatanggapin ko na lang, right? Ginawa akong ng Diyos na gusto ko yung lalaki. Lalaki ako. So ito na to. Tanggapin nyo na ako. Diba? Pero the reasoning yon ng isang fallen human being. So as a conclusion, the confessional doctrine of compatibilistic free will, yung magkatugma ang free will ng tao, freedom of inclination, not freedom of contrary choice, helps us maintain the biblical teaching about humans' free moral choices and actions that are compatible with God's all-determining decree, and understand the clear biblical data concerning humans as responsible creatures and the Lord as the sovereign disposer of all things. So as we end this first session, we affirm and we maintain na magkatugma. Okay? Compatible. Kung tama yung Tagalog ko, no, magkatugma, compatible. Ang all-determining decree ng Panginoon na data ang ating freedom of inclination, ang ating free will. Na hindi tayo forced to come here. Meron ba nag-force sa inyo na pumunta dito? O, pumunta kayo sa sa conference. Pag hindi kayo pumunta sa Sunday, hindi kayo magpapartake ng Lord's Supper. Wala naman ganun, no? But, malaya tayong ginagawa ang ating desisyon, ang ating choices, ang ating actions. And we praise God for that. So manalangin po tayo. O Panginoon, salamat sa unang part ng aming lecture. Medyo may hirap na language, but we are asking for your for the working of your grace to help us understand itong biblical teaching about our free will, na kami ay hindi forced and not coerced. Hindi kami not necessitated by nature to act and to decide kung ano yung tama or mali. Nagpapasalamat din kami, Panginoon, dahil nakita namin na dinecree nyo ang lahat ng mga bagay, and you are holy and you are wise. Kahit hindi pa namin mapagtagpi-tagpi kung bakit nang nangyari ang mga dinadaanan namin sa buhay, you have given us freedom to decide and to incline our will freely to your will as revealed in the scriptures. We praise you, O Lord. Gabayan nyo kami even sa aming next session. Ito pong aming dalangin sa ngalan ni Jesus. Amen.